And this is what makes it really interesting now, because look at where we actually are. We are right where we want to be. Good evening everyone, and welcome to another market structure break pre-week analysis on the S&P 500 and also on BTC today. The big questions we want to answer today are the bottoms actually in, and of course what's to come this week? We want to be looking at mid and short-term swing setups. Looking at the weekly time frame, and with that the trend time frame we want to use for midterm setups, we can see that actually not that much has changed. Our levels are still untouched. We are still caught at least in between this range denominated here by the wicks, or even the bigger range that we could mark off with our closes. So was whatever we said last time for nothing? I would definitely not say so, but let's have a quick listen. What did we actually say? So we would have to see something develop on the 4-hour time frame or lower to really consider a short, or the opposite idea. Once price reaches the target box to the downside, which I've marked out here between like $3,900 and $3,850, we would like to see the development of a bullish setup down there to consider going long. Now obviously, what about all the way down here? As we are in an uptrend in our trend time frame, so the daily time frame, I would consider a short down to this area primarily a hedge and not the start of a new trend. What would I like to see on the 1-hour time frame? Similarly to what I said about the 4-hour time frame, a possible deviation above this swing high, and then a trend change that could give me some kind of entry within a target box here. And now let's zoom in and review a little bit what happened over the past week. For that, we want to go down to the daily time frame first of all, because here we can then determine where our target boxes should be. And of course, we also want to mark out our levels. The levels really are untouched. We didn't quite make it down to our daily target box. However, we are back at within the target box to the north, to the upside. So basically where we were within last week, where we were hoping for a rejection and did actually get this rejection to. The execution time frame, the 4-hour time frame, paints an even clearer picture here. You remember what we said? We were looking for a deviation right above this high. We did get this deviation. Does this mean that I caught the move? Unfortunately not. We want to wait until the trend is broken. This happened in this strong down candle, and then we want to wait for a retrace to actually enter our trades. And this is what makes it really interesting now, because look at where we actually are. We are right where we want to be for really taking a short setup. We are right within a target box that could offer a potential move down to the area we were actually hoping to see last week. And the same even holds true if you look at the 1-hour time frame. Even zooming in to the 1-hour time frame, we can see that we want a setup to form here to really take price down to the area that we want to do business in with respect to bullish possibilities. So exciting days ahead of us with respect to the S&P 500, I would say. So what does that actually mean for the much bigger question? Bottoms in, question mark. For that, obviously, we need to zoom out to the bigger time frame again, the weekly, because only then we can get a clear idea for what is going on. And here it becomes quite clear that we can't definitively say. We've mentioned before with respect to the levels, we simply can't definitively say. We are still range bound. Nonetheless, and this is why I've included BTC in this week's analysis, BTC paints a different picture. BTC has had phenomenal 2 weeks and is about to change its weekly trend. If it can, this might signal bottoms in for the SPY as well. With that being said, let's move on to the second candidate of tonight's analysis, BTC. But before we do that, if you found any value in this video so far, consider liking it. Also comment below what is your take on the SPY and the question of, is the bottom really in? For that, let's have a closer look at our second candidate of tonight. Let's look at BTC. Opening up the BTC chart, what we can see straight away is that we are in a heavy, or were in a heavy weekly downtrend. Let's have a closer look. Let's zoom in for that. What becomes clear is that after the last 3 green candles up, so to speak, on the weekly chart, we might have broken the weekly downtrend if we can close tonight above 20,900. Let me show you why. Here is our last weekly lower high on a closing basis. The possible first weekly higher low sits at around 16,584. Looking for liquidity, we want to move back out to the candle chart, and then it becomes clear that the next bit of liquidity is resting at around 25,200. And we are just at the moment also in an interesting area at 22,900 roughly, where we could also expect some resistance to form. Next, let's see where we could pull back to if a pullback was to happen. In the bullish case, the weekly target box should be found at around 18,700 down to 17,650. Where can we expect more resistance to form? If we draw our fib retracement from this last high, we see that actually we are again right within a possible target box. Actually, we have overshot the box. Now the question is, will this turn into a wick, or can we really break and then later on maybe even retest? In cases like this, I always recommend to also have a look at the next target box further up, which would only start at around 24,600. And why is this interesting? Because you can already see it. This obviously coincides nicely with the high that we have marked out here at around 25,260. Are there any other areas of interest for us? Yes, there are indeed, because we still have a weekly fair value gap that remains partly unfilled up here as well. To the downside, massive fair value gap, yeah, starting below 20,345. With all of that in mind, let's zoom into the daily time frame, because this is where we actually want to find our more exact target box. We can either try and take it from here. Lines up quite nicely if we have a look with what we have already marked on the weekly. Let's mark that as our daily target box in a bullish case. And going further back here, we can do the same for the bearish case. And then realize that we have a daily target box again starting at around 25,385. In other words, there is a lot of confluence around these areas, obviously. Around 25,000 to the north, basically, for price going up, and down here between 18,800, maybe even down to 17,500. Let's look for more confluence, and therefore let's look for the last real daily lower high, which we can find at around 17,500, even more confluence. And then I won't even mark them out. Look at all these fair value gaps that we find within this move. Very quick up move. So should we be coming down and break this last bullish order block, then we can assume a swift move down here. For the moment, however, obviously on the daily time frame, we are heavily bullish on the daily time frame, and you should rather look for long setups up here into the region of $25,000 to $26,000 before expecting a real move down. My conclusion, therefore, midterm, we are still very bullish. I would expect the move maybe up to 25,000, 25,500 before a more significant move further down. However, let's not forget that we are in an area of high resistance. We have a lot of liquidity here. So if everyone expects a move up to 25,000, you might as well get a move down to 18,000. And this is what technical analysis is all about. It can never give you the exact direction of a trade, but it can help you to find areas that you actually want to do business at. To conclude, as long as we have no daily market structure break, as long as we have no clear rejection pattern forming here, at least on the 4-hour time frame, our execution time frame for the midterm, there is nothing for us to do here really. So what could such a move on the 4-hour possibly look like? Let's adjust the chart a little bit so we can have a clear idea. We see very, very fast move up. Now, what we want is some kind of distribution pattern on the 4-hour chart forming. We had an area of consolidation. However, we never really broke down. Instead, we broke up. We are looking for another form of distribution up here if we were to get the move down. First of all, maybe a move above these highs, then market structure break before further downside on the 4-hour time frame. But at the moment, There's nothing there that really indicates this. Yes, volatility is very, very high, so we can expect this move to come to an end rather sooner than later, but this doesn't mean that we can't go all the way up to 25. First of all, after all, this is crypto. Zooming out to the daily time frame one more time, going back to our normal chart layout, we can see that BTC at the moment really is already in kind of like a parabolic move up, very bullish. There's nothing there for us to say we want to stand in front of that train and short it now. We need to see clear signs for that. Nonetheless, and this should conclude today's analysis, the weekly gives very strong signs on BTC that the bottom, the macro bottom, could actually be in. And if that is true, a bottom for the S&P 500 is certainly close at least. Guys, if you could find any value in this video here today, then hit the subscribe button, comment and like the video. How do you analyze BTC and the S&P 500? What is your take on the situation? Have we seen the macro bottoms, or is there more blood to come? Let me know. Looking forward to it. And with that being said, I'm out. Take care and see you next time. Bye bye.